Grief is something that if we don't take care of it, it stays. If we try and tamp it down, it will continue to niggle and say, I'm here, until we take care of it. I had a dream that I was supposed to make angels. So I started making these angels, traveling the Midwest, selling angels full-time. When you're selling something that touches people's hearts, something that causes them to pause for a moment, they would tell me who they were looking for, who they were buying the angel for. And then they would tell me the whole story. It would be possibly someone with cancer, could have been a new baby, death of a parent, sibling. All these stories were coming at me all the time. So I learned to be a good listener, understanding that I had a purpose that I needed to fulfill in my life. Then I went and got doula training and better understood how we can make life a little bit easier for the client and the family through being a companion. When I went to the first vigil, the gentleman that was dying was in a bed. His brother was very nervous. I had never sat with a person that was dying before, and I knew that there was nothing I could do for that was dying. So I turned to his brother, asked him, how are you? And he talked about his life with his brother, his family, his impending brother's death, everything that had affected him. And when I walked out of that home, I knew that this bedside work was what I wanted to do. Pushed me further into understanding what I would be doing for the rest of my life. There's a lot of emotion, sadness, denial, resistance in this work. Families want their person to live forever, and helping them to understand that that's not possible, and that death is a natural part of life can be very difficult. Helping someone to face their end of life, an adventure that they never thought could be possible, helping them to move into that space is probably the most challenging of all the things. The biggest fears that I hear about most often, the first one is what is going to happen to this body as I die? What does that look like? What is that experience going to be like? The second, what's going to happen to my spirit or my soul after I die? When someone asks me that question, I always say it doesn't matter what I think. What matters is what you think. Do you know what you think? And oftentimes people don't have a clear idea of what after death looks like. So I invite them to having a conversation. It reduces the fear. So how do we reduce this fear? We talk about the fear. Death education is important because if we don't talk about it and we don't have an understanding, we're all going to go through it. It's sort of like, it would be like going to an operation without having had a conversation with your doctor. I currently host a death cafe in St. Anthony. And Death Cafe is our just a forum where people come and there's no agenda. So people can choose anything to talk about as regards death and ask questions and hear other people's experiences. It's a place where everyone's common point of interest is death. When a person is dying, if we think about they are the center of the drop in the middle of the pond, and then the ripples go out. It's the same way with the Death Cafe, is an organization that has ripples that go out all over, so that any profession that is related to death can become a member of the collaborative. We resource to each other and we learn from each other. So we have a lot of education. There was a woman that I worked with, she had a form of ALS. When I first started working with her, she still could speak. She had a hard time writing. She couldn't drive anymore. So ALS basically paralyzes the body. It paralyzes everything until the person can't really breathe anymore. One of the last times that we were working together, she wrote me a note that said, "You did good work today." And I've kept that. And she died a few months later. And I run across that note every once in a while, which bring me to tears. It was a beautiful example of wanting to do all the hard work.
Death is always a taboo subject in the society. Why do you think so?
Because nobody likes to think that they're going to die.